Today, in Part 2 of Sarg-57 of the Yoga Vasistha, we will discuss in detail topics such as the Loha Pindanyaya, analogy of the iron ball, and the Agni Visfulinga principle of fire and sparks. We're going to dive straight into this profound dialogue, unpacking the original Sanskrit verses, looking at their literal meanings, and, most importantly, uncovering their deep philosophical significance. Let's journey back to this ancient exchange where the absolute, ultimate reality of existence is revealed.
To truly grasp these concepts, I want you to imagine stepping right into the sacred space of this transmission. Hear these words as if Maharishi Vashishtha himself is imparting the highest spiritual wisdom directly to his young, inquiring student, Sri Rama. Imagine him saying, "O Rama, listen carefully, as I impart to you the untampered essence of these teachings, guiding your mind away from the illusions of the material world." You see, the goal of this explainer is nothing less than pointing you toward complete liberation, or moksha, achieved through powerful analogies that literally cut right through the ignorance of the mortal mind.
The entire dialogue hinges on a really specific, brilliant question from Rama. In passage 18, verse 10, he asks, "O sage, how does the pure self become falsely identified with this material form?" Now, this is a profound inquiry because it addresses the very root of all human suffering. Think about it. How exactly does our pure, boundless consciousness end up getting trapped in the limiting, heavy belief that I am just this physical body?
In response, Vashishtha delivers Shloka 10 of Sarg-57. Let's look at the specific syllables here, because within them lies this ancient vibration of truth. Word by word, the text reveals the mechanics of this illusion. We have the term loha, meaning iron, and pinda, meaning a ball or solid mass. Then we see deha, referring to the physical body, and chit, representing pure, eternal consciousness. Notice how the sage doesn't just give a theoretical answer. He uses these precise Sanskrit terms to cut through the veil, detailing exactly how the infinite mind gets bound up in finite matter.
Let's reflect on the literal meaning of verse 10. The physical form, the deha, is, completely on its own, inert, cold, and lifeless. It only appears to be conscious because of the presence of the self, the chit, inside it. The body is essentially borrowing its vitality entirely from the indwelling spirit. It's exactly like a dark piece of iron taking on the burning, radiant qualities of fire, but only when it's placed directly inside the flames.
And that brings us to our first major universal principle, the Loha Pinda Nyaya. Nyaya means an analogy or logical maxim, and Loha Pinda, as we just saw, is an iron ball. The philosophical significance of this analogy is just immense. It flawlessly illustrates how this illusion of bodily identification actually happens. It captures exactly how your pure self, which is completely free and unbound by nature, suddenly feels limited, heavy, and subject to the decay of the material world.
Picture this comparison and watch how the truth unfolds. On one side, we have cold, dark, inert iron. That represents the physical body. On the other side, we have blazing fire, which represents pure consciousness. Now, just as a cold iron ball placed in a furnace starts to glow red, radiate heat, and will even burn anyone who touches it solely because of its proximity to the fire, the inert physical body appears alive, active, and conscious only due to the radiant presence of the self. The iron has absolutely no heat of its own, just like the body has absolutely no consciousness of its own.
Step by step, we can observe the precise mechanics of this illusion. First, there's proximity. The consciousness is present within the body. Second, absorption. The body takes on the glow and the movement of life. Third, and this is absolutely crucial, false identity. If that iron ball suddenly possessed a voice, it might forget its cold, metallic nature entirely and falsely declare, "I am the fire." This is exactly how the ignorant soul declares, "I am this body." We take the eternal, radiant properties of the soul and attribute them to the temporary, decaying body. And that right there is the very root of Maya.
So once we understand how we get trapped in the physical form, Rama's inquiry pierces even deeper. In passage 27, verses 27 and 28, he asks, "Lord, how does the individual soul relate to the Supreme Brahman?" It's a great question. If we aren't this heavy iron body, but rather the glowing consciousness, then what exactly is our relationship to the ultimate infinite consciousness of the universe? Are we fundamentally separate, or are we the exact same?
To answer this, Maharishi Vasistha presents verses 27 and 28 of Sarg-57. Listen closely to the exact phrasing here, because these syllables describe the ultimate reality of your own origin. Let's break down the Sanskrit. We find the word yatha, meaning just as, followed by Agni, meaning blazing fire, and Visvalinga, which translates to sparks. Then we see Tatha, meaning in the exact same way, referring to how the jiva, the individual soul, emanates from Brahman, the infinite supreme reality. This is pure, unadulterated Vedic truth.
The literal English translation of verses 27 and 28 provides this breathtaking visual for the mind. Word by word, these verses explain that just as thousands of glowing sparks arise from a massive, roaring bonfire, the countless conscious beings, the individual souls of this universe, emerge directly from the one undivided Supreme Brahman. They emanate naturally, effortlessly, and continuously right from that divine source.
This sacred teaching is formally known as the Agni Visvalinga principle. As we just learned, Agni is fire and Visvalinga means spark. The spiritual significance of these verses is to define the absolutely inseparable, non-dual relationship between you and the Supreme Source. It's a timeless analogy showing us that while the individual spark appears separate, small, and vulnerable flying through the cold wind, its true nature, its absolute core essence, is nothing but the great fire itself.
Look at this profound contrast. The supreme fire, Brahman, is infinite, steadfast, and eternal. The flying spark, the individual soul, or jiva, seems finite, tiny, and fleeting on its journey. And yet, they both share the exact same elemental essence of light and heat. The spark isn't made of some lesser material than the fire. You, as the individual soul, are not made of anything different than the supreme consciousness.
What's wild is that even though these teachings are ancient, they echo into eternity, perfectly mirroring the highest observations of modern scientific paradigms. The Agni Visvalinga principle perfectly describes what we now call fractal geometry, where every microscopic fragment contains the exact mathematical pattern of the infinite whole. It's the holographic universe, where every localized piece contains the complete image of reality. It's the unified quantum field, where localized particles are just brief excitations of one underlying boundless field. The spark inherently contains the entire truth of the fire.
Next up, let's look at the path to liberation and overcoming the illusion of Maya.
Because simply knowing the theory isn't enough, we have to practically apply these brilliant analogies for ultimate spiritual liberation, or moksha. The grand obstacle standing in the way is Maya, the cosmic illusion. Maya is what causes the tiny spark to feel isolated, afraid, and lost in the wind, completely forgetting its majestic origin in the blazing fire. And it's Maya that binds your pure consciousness to the heavy, inert iron of the physical body, making you fear disease, old age, and death. But remember, those afflictions only apply to the rusting iron. They never apply to the eternal fire.
To achieve moksha, you have to logically progress through these definitive steps. First, self-inquiry, actively asking yourself, am I the heavy iron or am I the radiant heat? Second, detachment from matter. You have to stop identifying with the rusting, decaying nature of the physical form. Third, realization of consciousness, fully recognizing yourself as the divine spark. And finally, liberation, the unshakable understanding that the spark and the fire are, and always will be, eternally one.
So as we wrap up, anchor these truths deeply within your daily life. Move through this world knowing you are the eternal witness, utterly untouched by the rusting of the iron. When chaos unfolds in the physical world, realize it's just the scattering of sparks in the wind. You are not the body. Your essence is the supreme. Observe the world with detachment and constantly seek that inner fire. This is the true path to self-knowledge and liberation. So I'll leave you with this question to ponder today. Are you tending to the heavy iron of your anxieties, or are you fueling the eternal fire of your consciousness? On behalf of the Vedmata AI family, we humbly request that if you found our presentation enlightening, please share our video widely so that authentic knowledge from Indian Vedic scriptures can reach the masses. Let us all come together to participate in this Gyan Yajna, sacrificial offering of knowledge. Har Har